Lads, we're down the back straight here in Navan Racecourse. One of my favourite tracks. I love the place, and especially down here, the speed, downhill run at these fences. If you have a willing partner, the revs are up. You know, if he's brave enough, he's good enough, you'll make lengths here. It's a brilliant track. You've made great improvements over the years.
Yeah, well, it's when I arrived here, as I said, in 1991, the track was allowed to get to a state you couldn't race on it, you know. And but look, we lost the 4-3 of that year, you know, because of that. But we never looked back after that. You know, continued to improve it every year by year. Even though at the same time they were trying to close Navan way back in the early 90s, you know. But a good committee up here fought hard and took the nail for it, and it worked on great from there, thank God. You know,
yeah.
Look up there now, and all the new buildings and all the whole lot.
No, there's been great changes and improvements over the years. You see that in the stands, but the racecourse itself, you've done a lot of drainage work. It's always, it seems to progress every year. I know the golf course came and went, but it's offered lots of ground on the inside too for flat meetings, and you have a lot of scope here.
We have a lot of scope. There's good width in it and all that, you know, and it's a good galloping track, as they call it, you know. And any horse that runs well here, he should give a fair account of himself is on the other track, you know. And a lot of trainers believed in that. Darky Prendergast, he used to run 2-year-olds here, and if they ran well here, he'd bring them to Royal Ascot. You know, that was his look on it. You know.
No, it's a brilliant track, and it's a fair track, but it's a testing track, and you know, the cream, I would have always thought, comes to the top. You know, there's no hiding place.
No,
definitely not, and even more so now with the flat as well. It's flat trainers are really getting fond of it as well. I think more so now going forward.
Yeah,
the last couple of years, it's become more popular with the flat trainers as well now.
Yeah, you rarely get a false result here.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
That finish that we have, it's deceptive over there. You know, when you look at it from the stand, you don't think it's as much of a climb, but when you're actually standing down a furlong and a half, 2 furlongs from home, when you look up, it's fair test now, and really, you know what you have.
And for me though, the climb, leaving the back straight, you know, you're climbing there. If you press the button early and you start making ground, you won't finish. Yeah. It's a place you have to be very patient when you're riding it and respect it.
When you look down there, as you say, like even this part of it, you probably get your little breather up around the tree and then you're going again.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a downhill run in the straight too, which you can freewheel down and get a horse into top gear, and then you meet the rising ground. It's a bit like Cheltenham when you run downhill before the straight. If you give too much at that point, you'll be struggling
on the hill up.
It's a track you have to respect, but everything about it, I suppose that's why I loved it so much. You had to respect it. You had to respect the fences, but you had to respect the hills and the climbs and the finish, because you wouldn't freewheel home here.
No, you wouldn't. No, definitely not.
No, and I can say about the fences, they're a good test of. The boys do great work on them now, preparing them. They've really, and they're good and safe. You know, but a good test to jump in.
Big and fair. And I would always compare here to Ascot, big fences and downhill run. You know, as I mentioned earlier, if you have a horse here and you're running these fences speed, especially in like the 4-3, top class 2-mile chase. And if you're running at this with speed, you need a fella who's up for it.
Yeah.
And you can make lengths on a horse over these 3 fences here, especially. I know that's early in the race, but you'll take lengths. You get lads under pressure early. But the track today, I know it's your first jump meeting coming up, but it is in beautiful condition. There's a great sod, you know, it looks great, it's fresh, it's you know, top marks, fair place to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I came here, the only tractor here was a Ferguson 135. That was it. And walked from there, you know. But and then the golf course, being there, brought Donald here, you know, as the greenkeeper. And of course, he'd be one side of the hedge, I'd be the other side of the hedge, you know, so.
And we'd be battling for that one tractor, or that 2 tractors maybe, there could be a battle. We'd have to come in early in the golf course
so
and get
But it's a story that the golf course is gone, you know. It was a great amenity, you know. You know what I mean, and brought a lot of people into place every day of the week, you know. But look, we'll roll on.
Yeah.
You know,
and it definitely enhanced the place, the golf course, when it was there in the middle. It looked really well, you know, but look at. It is what it is now, we just make the most of it.
Its legacy though is you know, it's a lovely infield as well, on the other hand, so I know it's a pity, but it still looks, the place looks brilliant. But the main thing is we have the racecourse.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it gives us the opportunity as well. Like for the couple of races down the back here, the horses are coming down across where the golf course was, so it's saving the track as well now. So
which is important.
Which is very important.
People don't appreciate the amount of damage you will do if you've if you've 7 races with 20 horses in each.
That's right. Yeah.
140 horses going to the start. It's going to take its toll on the track.
Yeah, I remember we had 165 runners here in one meeting. That was the pre-Christmas meeting. 165. In the place like Ploughed Field.
I know.
But like, you know, that's back in the 90s now. You know. But like, I mean, the way they run races now and all that, it's all, you know, more health and safety and all that. You don't have the big 35 runner races like as they had those days, like, you know.
No, but you see, you'll have 30 in the Tri-Town, will you, or 27?
24.
24 it's back to, and on the hurdle track?
26.
26.
Yeah. We used to have 30.
Used to be 30, yeah.
26, yeah. To be fair, tear off now at the 2 mile start over there if you have 26 and that first hurdle gets a fair.
Yeah,
and even this one.
If coming to this one now, yeah, I'd say if there was, whatever the previous limits were, especially on the Tri-Town.
Well, that's the first fence in the Tri-Town.
That's what I'm saying,
down the hill.
with a cavalry charge.
Up here.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that view too well. It's well, you mightn't even see it. There might be no view because if you're coming down behind 15 or 20 horses, you'd be hoping you might see it because you won't see much.
No. And as you said earlier, like the fences are, you know, you great kick-off point.
Yeah.
You know, and you can glide over them at speed.
Well, they're well presented. Horses respect them. They look at them. They measure.
Well,
Respect
the
is a
old
big
type was
part.
straight up, you know.
I know.
And like, I mean, it was like a show jump. You know what I mean? Pop over, like, you know.
There was more followers of those.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's, you know, it's fantastic the way you just take them at speed, at ease, you know, and the horse can just glide over them. You know.
You make it sound really easy. Vince, you're here a good few years now. When did you actually start?
Back in November 1991. Yeah, and how it happened to be was William Flood, who's a strong committee member here, approached me one day out of the blue and asked would I be interested, that they needed somebody. So I was interviewed, I was offered a job, and said, look, I'm here anyway, you know. And if you talk about this All-Ireland man here, like, you know what I mean, I used to play rugby, you know. I mean, so I have my Leinster medal. So you have to write about that.
Yes, you're not going to get away much here, no. 2 All-Irelands though, Vincent, you know.
3.
Hard to top it, yeah. Yeah, look, I came here in 99. Probably something similar to Vincent. There was actually Eddie Campbell contacted me. I was working in the Lucan Golf Club. I was assistant greenkeeper up there in Lucan Golf Club, and Eddie gave me a shout to see would I be interested in the job on the golf course. And 99 I started here on the golf course. And
was that before or after the All-Ireland?
Just after the All-Ireland in the January. No, just sorry, no, but that year we won the All-Ireland that year.
That year, yeah.
The All-Ireland 99. It's a great job. It's a very enjoyable job and a healthy job, and there's great satisfaction on a race day. Like, I would park myself over there at the third last fence and follow them on the back straight. On the home straight. Vincent covers the back straight here. But when you're sitting over there at that third last fence and see them horses jump, it's class. People would pay a fortune for the spots we get to see or the things we see, Vincent, to be fair.
Well, the only downside though too, I know this here is that it's such a fantastic track. And we don't have one Group 1 or Grade 1 race now, only that type here. You know, the Tri-Town is about the best we have, and it carries its own stories, like, you know what I mean? But like, we need really, for the track that it is now.
Well, it is a Grade 1 track. There is no doubt about that, and it's like I'm not just because I'm in your company, but it's one of my favourite tracks.
No, well, you've all said
England
that.
or Ireland, I just loved, and it wasn't because it's not it's not the closest track to me at home, but it's one of the closest tracks. I'm a Meath man, obviously, but I love this place. I just loved everything about it. It brought the best out in the horse, and I think a rider as well, because you could throw away a race by going too soon here easily. You know, you could win a race jumping. It's a real test, and I think it suits a good horse. Yeah. You could ride a good horse, and you weren't as much a hostage to fortune. The cream would come to the top.
That's right. Yeah, you were saying that earlier. Yeah. What's his Finnegan? The furniture man.
Oliver. Right.
Oliver Finnegan trained it and all the whole lot. And I was standing over here with Mannix Dowdle, God be good to him, who worked on the track for 60 years. And I asked him, what'll win here? And he said, the bottom horse.
Height fashion.
and he cleared that last fence there as fast as he could go. And he was only a small little fella, you know, and he just let them all, because he was carrying nothing, you know, and he just went through the muck, as it really was muck, you know, and won it. And that, I think that was my point the whole time we've been here so far, was that win that day, you know.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I suppose for me, Tiger Roll winning the last, coming and winning the Bine Hurdle here, and he's ran a few times since. You know, that's a big thing, and going on and winning Grand National, and
yeah,
he's been for me now the highlight so far of my time here anyway.
no, lots of great horses winning, you know, what to me are top class races.
Yeah.
And not like they're stepping stones to bigger things, Grand Nationals and Championships and whatnot, but they're, you know, they're high class races in their own right.
Yeah, definitely.